Election day upon us and the House hanging in the balance. Pennsylvania's 10th Congressional District is one area where Democrats are targeting vulnerable GOP incumbent Scott Perry. One America's John Hines caught up with Perry and has this from his campaign office in Pennsylvania.
Okay, so one of the big things that's going on is the redistricting in Pennsylvania, and they took this district and they made 45% of it new. So essentially half of it is an open seat. So you have to go and meet those voters for the first time. Now, I'm very familiar with the area geographically because obviously it's close, but voters aren't familiar with seeing me on the ballot. So that makes it an additional challenge. The other thing that's made it very, very challenging is the amount of outside money that is poured into this district and many districts, but we're probably being outspent. Well, there's probably 10 times the amount of more money in this race than ever before, and people aren't used to seeing that on their TV or in their mailboxes.
You're being outspent by your Democratic opponent by about 10?
No, it's 10 times what it used to cost in this district. We're probably being outspent 3 to 1, something like that, 4 to 1. Now, I've been outspent 7 to 1 in the past and have won, so I'm used to difficult races. We are hardworking. We get our message out there, and we're true to our word. So that resonates with people.
So in redistricting, your district went from an R plus about 19 to an R plus about what?
R9 to an R5, so it's about half, yeah.
So that means a lot of work getting out to meet new voters.
Yes.
Talk about some of the issues that have come up in the campaign so far.
Well, one of the things that's become an issue, which in my opinion is disingenuous, is a lot of the money on the ads on TV and in the mailbox are about health care. In particular, they say that I voted against coverage of pre-existing conditions. And the premise is that if you voted to repeal Obamacare, that was the only thing that covered pre-existing conditions. Of course, they don't talk about the other side of the story where we fought to make sure that coverage of pre-existing conditions was included and paid for appropriately in the American Health Care Act. They leave that portion out of it. So literally, I watch 4 ads on TV to my one that says that Perry's against pre-existing conditions. They also say that I'm against Social Security and Medicare, and that I'll sponsor legislation to cut that because I sponsor a balanced budget amendment.
Which is not correct.
Which is not correct. Of course, my mother's on Social Security and Medicare, and so are many of the people in the district I represent. We care for them and what they've earned by what they paid in.
You've also supported covering pre-existing conditions.
Absolutely. That was one of the things if you remember the time, that was one of the things we fought very diligently over in the original replacement bill for Obamacare because it was not adequate. And we fought to get the pre-existing coverage put in there, and we really came up with a great plan. As you remember, maybe it was called the Palmer-Schweikert resolution or amendment, and we got that put in there. So it's frustrating to me that millions of dollars are being spent saying that I did something that is completely opposite of reality or the truth.
Would you say this is a battleground district in the fight for the House? Talk about that.
I would say it is now. Of course, they made the margins much tighter, which is why all the money's coming in. They think that the liberals are thinking they might be able to flip this seat by all kinds of outside money and outside personnel. This is all organic. This is homegrown, volunteer-based here. My opponent has a lot of folks coming from out of state, particularly Washington, paid staff. And so that's the difference of it. It has made it a battleground. Every single seat in Pennsylvania, almost every single seat has now become battleground. They want Nancy Pelosi to be the speaker, and they need to get those votes somewhere. And so this is one of the places they're looking.
Have you ever seen such a strong effort by Democrats in Pennsylvania?
Not necessarily in this district. I think that other places in Pennsylvania, there's been this strong an effort, but they've configured the district so that they feel that they have a greater chance. So they're investing as much as possible into it, I think.
Talk about President Trump. Is he as part of the subtext here? Do you hear about him? What are people?
Yes. In the past, and of course when he ran, as you know, Pennsylvania went for President Trump, and this area in particular, and especially the county that half of what was taken away from me, we credit ourselves with taking him over the top in Pennsylvania. But again, half of that was taken away in this redistricting, and so now where it was very pro-Trump in the past, now it's almost 50-50. So when you go to someone's door, they're either demanding that you support the president, or if you support the president, they will vote specifically against you, even though he's not on the ballot. That is part of the challenge.
You're optimistic. Why are you optimistic?
I am very proud and optimistic about how we've conducted this campaign, how wisely we've used our resources, the great outpouring of support. None of us do this on our own, right? I'm just the messenger. Really, these folks are the heart and soul of this effort, and that does make you very proud. We work really, really hard right through the finish line. We keep a smile on our face. We're respectful. We try and focus on the issues, and I think that's what a campaign's supposed to be about. At the end of the day, this is in the voters' hands, and it's all up to the good Lord. So we respect that, and we accept that. All we can do is what we can do, and we work as hard as we can.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One America News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One America News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.